just a minute.
Well, a pleasant good morning and welcome to this episode of the CCG Hour. It is a great day to be alive. You know, that's my opening statement. It's good to be alive for real. It's sometimes, I'm sure if you have been through a bout of sickness and you came out of it, I'm very sure that you will be agreeing with me. It's good to be alive, and it's a great day to be in God's world. So welcome to the program. I trust that you and your family are well, that you are walking in the fullness of what God has for you. That is the biggest gift, to be able to walk in the fullness of what God has for you. Today, I'm not going to have much ado because I don't know if I will be getting this guest to come back very soon. So definitely I have to I have to squeeze as much out of him as I can this morning. So I have a guest with me, Reverend Nigel Lindsay, who is here in Grenada as a missionary, working along with the Presbyterian churches in Grenada. Good morning, Nigel.
Good morning. Nice to be here.
Good that you can come. We've been trying to get it to happen.
Yes, that's great.
And I've been busy. Actually, I have been, and this is for you viewers and listeners, I heard of this endeavor that Reverend Nigel is about to embark on, and I was like, So he told us of it in the CCG. So he is with the CCG because, of course, the fact that he is with the Presbyterian Church. And for those of you who follow the program, I think everybody knows that Reverend James, Osborne James, is a big part of the CCG, has been for quite a while. Reverend James is like one of the main staples of the CCG. And, of course, when I heard what Reverend Nigel was proposing to do, I was like, that sounds like something for the CCG Hour. But I know I'm deliberately whetting your appetite. We are going to talk about that part a little later. It's just interesting to me. It's not like if it's unheard of. It's just interesting, you know. And I really thought that it will be, at least on our end, what can we do to be able to support such an endeavor? And I'm hoping that you viewers and listeners, when we are through with the program, that you will be able to offer your support in whatever way that you can. So we will talk about that, but right now we need to get to know Nigel a little bit. So, Nigel, tell me a little bit about you. I mean, we met not too long ago, of course, through the CCG, and we didn't have time to really connect until today. Okay. So just tell me a little bit about yourself. I mean, clearly you have an accent, so I know you're not from here.
Yeah, so I was born in London, in Hackney in London, and then we moved out to the countryside quite early on, when I was about 7. So, and then I moved back to London, I suppose, in the 80s, and then out to the coast, to Eastbourne, on the coast of England, and then then back to London a bit later. But I spent 2 years working in Nigeria, and I've done some work in Kenya as well. So I've been a little bit of time in Africa, which is good.
Yes.
And so I'm a minister in the Congregational Federation. So I'm a minister ordained in the Congregational Federation in the UK. And now I'm working with the Presbyterian Church here in Grenada.
Okay, I am not sure that, I know for sure I am not very familiar with the congregational. Just say it over, I do not want to distort the word.
Okay, yeah. So congregational churches have been around since the 1660s, and they were dissenters like the Baptists and the Quakers from the Church of England back at that stage, where they were trying to impose some stricter rules and stuff.
Right.
And so they dissented and they moved away. Some of them were persecuted. Lots of the ministers were actually killed at the time because of their dissenting from the Church of England.
Right.
There were in England about 3,000 congregational churches around at one stage, but in 72 they joined with the Presbyterian Church to form the United Reformed Church.
Okay.
So you've got the Presbyterian Church, the Congregational Church, and the Church of Christ in the end joined as well to form the United Reformed Church.
Okay, don't go too quick.
Don't go too quick.
No.
Okay.
So I just want to make sure that we get it. So we still have the Presbyterian churches. That's one.
Yeah.
But then the United Reformed churches would be directly a part of the Presbyterian as we know it, or is it two separate bodies still?
No, so the United Reformed Church came together and they took bits from the congregational part and bits from the Presbyterian to form the United Reformed Church. Because of the governance of Presbyterian churches, the majority, I think, if not all, Presbyterian churches in the UK became part of that grouping.
Okay.
But because of the governance of congregational churches, which are all independent, and the members of the church make the decisions about what happens.
That's why it's called congregationalist.
Yeah.
Okay, I mean, right now it's just so obvious that you say it that way.
Yeah, and so
Right.
about 500 congregational churches chose not to join the United Reformed Church.
Right.
So I'm from the grouping that remained independent from
Right.
them and continued to be congregational.
And in this case, so when we talk about congregationalist, we're saying that each individual local house, I say local house, is in charge of its own affairs and but you're working along and affiliating with others like you.
So
Okay.
we're affiliated to the Congregational Federation.
Yes, of course.
Which provides some structures for us with church leaders. It recognises ministers. It does training.
Right.
It provides safeguarding for children and adults.
Right.
It holds our trust deeds in trust for our buildings and things.
Okay.
But each individual church would make its own decisions about its policies and its governance.
Right. Interesting. Well, then maybe we have more congregationalists around the world than we think, if you can show them without the label, because based on what you are saying, then our ministry is a congregationalist. No, for real, because it's a small ministry. I founded that ministry, not just woke up one morning and founded it, but I'm just saying I am the leader of that ministry, and there we do deliberately align ourselves with individuals and other ministries, yes, that can give certain basic, as I say, structure, accountability, because that is really what it is, accountability. But in terms of all decisions and everything, it lies among us. We have just had our strategic meeting to plan for 2023, and those were all members of the congregation. You understand? I don't have a quote-unquote a bishop, and nothing is wrong with that. I'm just saying the way you're explaining it, sometimes we hear what someone else is doing or another group is doing, and we tend to, I don't know that. And we do not understand that when we bring it into our context, just how much in common that we do have. Because when you mention it, it's like, okay, I don't even, I know the term, but never really pondered on it.
Okay.
But now that, that's interesting.
I mean, there's in Guyana, there's some congregational union there. So there's a group of congregational churches. In America, in Canada, there's congregational. They're across the world.
Right.
There are other congregational.
And of course, even if not directly affiliated to y'all, but as I said, people like me who will be operating on the principle without even calling yourself by that designation. That's interesting though.
The church meeting is quite integral to that. So gathering the church together, some churches do it once every 3 months, some it's every 2 months. In churches I've been in, it's once a month we've gathered all the church. And so there people in the church are making decisions about what happens.
Of course.
We appoint deacons to take lead roles, and sometimes they're designated roles particularly, but in the end, big decisions need to come back to members.
To everybody. But right, wow. And I mean, of course, with everything on planet Earth, we know that there would be pros and cons. That's life. But that's life.
Advantages, disadvantages.
But that's life. But it works. But because I know for sure, at least from my end, yes, there are definitely some things that you might say, oh, well, maybe if we had a big body to answer to, then we don't have to be responsible, especially for finances and the weight that it brings on you. But then when you think about the closeness and the family and the intimacy that you have when you have those kinds of congregational, yes, you can have some problems as well, but still, to me, the closeness and the intimacy that you can have, for me, it far outweighs the possibility that, yes, you can have issues. Because, again, in every family you will have issues, and we are the family of Christ, So, I think right now I have gained a better appreciation for what I am, for what I am doing and how I am doing it. Not to say it's better than, but it's just that it has really given me a deeper appreciation. I will ponder on it some more, definitely. Thanks for sharing that. All right, so we're talking about you. That is how we got there. So you've been in missionary work how long?
Well, I've been an ordained minister since 2009, so not massively long. Prior to that, I worked. Well, initially, when I left school, I went into catering, so I did training in catering, and did so hotel and catering management. So initially, working in different departments of hotels in different parts of the country, moving around, and then I became an assistant manager in a hotel. But all of that time, I suppose, I was involved in kind of some social action stuff. So I've always been involved with scouting, since I was 8, all the way through. So and that kind of does lots of kind of youth work and takes you into lots of different areas. But equally, I did some work in a hospital with play leading. I worked in a youth group, worked with some adults with muscular dystrophy. And all those kinds of things, whilst I was still doing the catering. And then I jumped ship in 1980 and started working for the Church of England Children's Society in a therapeutic project for emotionally damaged children. That was in London. And then later I then went off and did a certificate in social work training. So I did that in Reading, and then became a social worker, and I've done a whole variety of things since then. So working as
so the truth is that you've been in ministry all your life.
I think what God does is He gives you He gives you something, and then you use that skill in the next place, and you use the skill in the next place.
And He's developing and He's growing. So sometimes when answering a question like when ministry started, already and truly, maybe we can all say from the time I was born. But I get where you're coming from. So I am very intrigued at how you got here. How did you get to Grenada?
Okay, well, I'd never really heard of Grenada before.
We're small. We could forgive you.
Okay. So what happened was I was working in East Ham as the minister of a congregational stroke Methodist church. So it was a ecumenical partnership, and a Methodist church. So I was the minister of a separate Methodist church as well, So I decided to apply to the Council for World Mission, which is the mission agency for the Congregational Federation.
Okay. Which, of course, you all are a part of that.
Yeah.
Right.
So the Council for World Mission was originally the London Missionary Society that sent missionaries out to different places.
Right.
And then in 1972, or around about that sort of time, it decided to become the Council for World Mission, where it's an exchange of people. So people from Zambia will be coming to Caribbean or to England. People from Korea are coming across to...
And not just people from England going out.
Yeah, so it's kind of a mix of people going around different countries. So I applied to them, and basically there's quite a long process, but then once they've accepted you, they send your papers to the 33 different countries that are involved. And then they look at your profile and decide whether they want to call you to come and partner with them.
Okay.
So, and through Canicon, so Grenada, Presbyterian Church of Grenada is not part of the Council for World Mission, but through Canicon they're connected. there was a request for somebody to come to Grenada, and then they saw my profile and decided that they would like me to come. I think. Is that how it happened, I think?
Well, yes, that's what you remember. And that's how long ago?
So I arrived here in August 2021, so just...
Oh, so just last year.
Yeah, so today would be 15 months I've been in Grenada.
Happy anniversary.
Thank you.
Okay, well, no, but then, yeah, it is instructive and very good that you can be on a program like this.
Yeah.
I think this is definitely the right time.
Yes.
Everything has its timing. That's the right time. Okay, so in Grenada now, you're working along with the Presbyterian Church.
Yeah, so the role I have is as church minister for Samaritan Presbyterian Church, which is kind of borders St Mark's, St Patrick's.
Samaritan. That's right on that bridge.
Yeah.
There's a very big primary school to the right.
Yeah.
Ah,
Yeah,
okay.
yeah,
I know that that church right there.
Yeah. So I'm the minister for that church, and I'm also the chaplain for the school that's opposite, the school you mentioned,
that
the
same
primary
school.
school, and also
Very big school.
Yeah, for McDonald's college. Yeah.
Ah, okay.
So
What does chaplaincy involve exactly? I mean, I know the word, and as a minister, yes, I know generally of it, but I'm thinking, and I could be wrong, that each chaplain would have his or her own, specific duties and so forth. So when we hear chaplaincy, or when we hear you are a chaplain, what exactly is expected of you?
Well, I think it varies according to different denominations, different churches, different places where you are, and what the school is looking for, really.
Right.
In this situation, it's about being involved in doing assemblies, being involved in those. Sometimes some involvement in religious education within the school context. So
you bring in the spiritual touch to the school.
Yeah. So it's being supportive to teachers. It's being supportive to the young people in the schools. Because of my background, potentially.
That's social work and mental.
Work,
Well, I want to talk a little bit about that more, but finish what you're saying about the chaplaincy.
So because of that, I'm doing some individual work with some young people in the school. So hopefully that's helpful. It can be anything really, I suppose, that kind of brings more maybe the presence of God into the school context.
And personal development type of thing. Right, support. Emotional, spiritual, psychological kind of support.
So I spend quite a lot of time just talking to students at break times and just sometimes playing games.
That's good. Yeah. Some children, a lot of children need that to be able to just be in that safe space.
So just being hopefully supportive as best I can within the school context.
Okay, but that's now I know, because like with government schools, yes, they have the counselors, and I know that over the years there have been individuals, ministers and so, that would have been invited. I don't know if it's directly from the school's end or if it is from the Ministry of Education, but I do know that there are people like us, who will be invited in whatever capacity to schools to be able to offer what you say. So bottom line, I think that is just what it is. We're offering this service of being a chaplain.
Yeah.
So, but then, like the school where the two that you're mentioning, they do have counselors still, no? Yes?
Yeah, well, yes and yes. So the secondary school does have a counsellor that's regularly part of the school, so we'll be doing some of that work.
So you just walk along with the individual. And that's great.
Right. The primary schools, and I think that this has happened quite a lot, is that unfortunately some of the primary schools counsellors have retired or have moved on, and they've not always been replaced. So quite a lot of as far as I know, quite a few of the primary schools in the northern end don't have anybody
doing that kind. Wow, and even as we we have enough time that we can speak a little bit about that, because I do believe that a program like this is not just for us to just talk or just talk about what we're doing, but I do believe that if we can give encouragement and to an extent counsel. Don't know that I want to use the word advice, you know, but certainly encouragement to folks who are listening, because as you mentioned that you have found that in the, you know, especially in the primary schools, there is an absence of counselors, and I know that for a fact. A lot of people, I believe, and I don't know if you will be able to attest to that, even from outside in your social work context, a lot of people believe that that children, and we're talking about primary school age children, well, they don't have no problem. What they're bothering about? What it is you're talking about? They're okay. And we do not give sufficient support. I do not believe that a lot of the times as adults that we give sufficient room to even hear whether or not children have a lot of issues. And I believe that they have maybe more issues than some adults, because they do not have the freedom to voice it many times. And even if they voice it, then they're always in a place where somebody else has to be responsible for what they do. Whereas as an adult, at least you can do whatever on your own, even if it's good or bad.
Yeah, I think it's so important to get in early in some ways with some people, because family background has an impact on children. And so when I was in the UK, I managed the school inclusion project, and we worked in 2 primary schools with children who may be excluded from the school because of their behaviour. And so we worked in the school and did individual work with the children there. We worked in the classroom and helped the teacher look at different structures they could put in place to engage the child. Right. We worked sometimes advocating to other agencies such as health to get a child properly assessed, because they may have ADHD, or they may be on the autistic spectrum, or there may be all sorts of different issues that need to be sorted. And sometimes you have to advocate for the parents to try to get some of those things in place. We also worked with families at home. So sometimes a child's behaviour at school is a result of what's going on there.
Yes.
And so working with the family, sometimes stressful times are like getting up in the morning and getting your children ready and getting them out and
for some
things
people,
like that.
it's too much for them, you know. Yes.
And so sometimes I would go and do some observation in a family home, and then give the parents some support or some help to think about ways they could do it slightly differently, which would make the whole morning process better, which then brings the child better into school.
Correct, because a totally different mindset when he or she comes to school now.
That's right. And you also have this issue where teachers will often become teachers because they liked school and they did well at school. Whereas parents, where children's behaviour is quite difficult, maybe they didn't like school. They didn't have a positive experience of school. Teachers are always telling them off and stuff. So those parents then don't go and speak to the teacher because they don't like the teachers. That's what they think. And the teachers don't speak to those parents because they come across as aggressive and not wanting to communicate. So when we can mediate and help to bring those people together, the child's whole behaviour at school improves. Because if parents and children and teachers are working together, you have a much better...
So even as we are speaking about that, because I am into education, that is my field. I've been a qualified teacher for years, and even though I am not in the government system from the place of like primary school, which is where I used to teach before, I've taught there, I've taught in private schools, but presently I teach, but I teach adults. So like in the Imani program, and I deliver like courses, you know, from a career part. But then you meet the same thing that we are speaking about everywhere you go. You have these issues where the adults are thinking, I am the one with the problems. I have a lot of problems. Don't you know I have problems? And my child should just be behaving. Lots of structures were not put in place to facilitate the child's development emotionally and how to deal with a lot of stuff, but yet we just want them to miraculously, magically know what to do. And so I'm listening to you, and I am hoping And I do that to my guests all the time. Now, this is not, this is not to put you in the bind to commit on television. It's not that, but it is for you to consider that in the capacity as a social worker, that too I have a little, I have, enough experience in, but I do believe that what you are bringing and why God would allow you to be here in Grenada at this time is, and especially when you mentioned that you have done a lot of work even in the capacity of dealing with mental health with children. I believe that without a doubt that is an area that is like, whoa, we need this. And so I am thinking that if you can please consider that we can have a program or a few programs during the course of 2023 where we can explore, because we would not get to everybody's home. We know that. And you may not be invited, more than likely, to every school.
Yeah.
But we have this that can get into many homes all at once, that we can possibly explore strategies that can be employed by parents to be able to deal with particular things. Because one of the things I have seen for sure as a teacher, and even now I am presenting a course, teacher assistant. I teach teachers to teach. And one of the units that I've just started a unit yesterday is dealing with learning difficulties. And the sad thing is, I know for sure in Grenada, there are not very many, if at all, skilled individuals who are certificated to be able to diagnose issues like dyscalculia, dyslexia, ADHD, and we can go on and on with all of the learning difficulties that are present in our classroom, that we label these children as bad children, or we label them as slow, or we label them as, look, they're just naughty and it's just a waste of time. We have so many labels that are sadly placed on them by society, by the home, by the school, by our educational system. Yet the reality is that nothing really have been put in place to facilitate dealing and finding out what's really going on with these children. So you've just found yourself in a new job. But I'm hoping you would consider it for real. We are almost to the end of the year, and I know you will give me feedback, but I would really appreciate that, because I do believe that we can bring something to the community, to the society, that I do believe people might not be able to go on just YouTube and get it, because everybody thinks they could go and get everything on YouTube, and that is not the case. But I do believe that we should be able to maybe work on something that can bring it in our Grenadian context. Who knows, maybe that is just one of the reasons that God has sent you. Okay, we've been talking for quite a while. Let's take a quick break. Okay. And we are going to be right back. And when we come back, we are going to talk about this endeavor, because amazingly, our time is getting close to.
Oh, gosh, yes.
I know. That's what happens when you're having a good time and chatting. So let's take a quick break. Stay with us. Check your pot if you have to. We don't want it burnt on our account. And we are going to be right back with you. Just hold on a bit. Yes. How is it going?
Are we break?
Yes, we're on break.
Can I make my cup of coffee?
Quick. The break is usually very short, so all you might have is a sip.
Okay.
You need hot water.
strength like no other.
Well, thank you very much for staying with us. For those of you who have just joined us, I am chatting this morning with Reverend Lindsay, who is here in Grenada, missionary here in Grenada, working along with the Presbyterian churches in Grenada, particularly with the Samaritan Presbyterian Church, and chaplain to both of the schools that the Presbyterian give oversight to, which is MacDonald College, I'm saying that right?
Yeah.
And the Presbyterian school, the primary school right in Samaritan. What is the name of that school?
Samaritan Presbyterian School.
Oh, just that. Okay, okay, like that is so easy.
Yeah, they had
Samaritan
they did have another one in Bel Air. I think it was Bel Air Church of Scotland's Presbyterian Church.
So that's the same one that is now Bel Air Government.
Yeah, it is.
I know that school. I visited there not too long ago.
I think the Scottish part moved out probably quite a few years ago. So we're not particularly supported by the Scottish end anymore. But
okay.
Yeah.
But is there? All right. So, we've spoken a lot, but for the last few minutes that we have, I would like us to talk about this endeavor that you have, that you're about to embark on.
Yes.
Which I wish I could give you the money so you won't have to walk. But I don't have it.
Okay.
So at least I can support in whatever way that I can. And I'm sure, from a CCG's end, we can support in whatever way we can. Okay. So tell us about this thing. How did it come up? What is it?
Okay. So so Samaritan Presbyterian Church is in a pretty bad state of disrepair, the building.
Right, the building,
And in order for us to be able to do more community activity and engage with the community more, we need to kind of upgrade it. We need to do something with it.
Of course.
We have a hall next door, which is again another big project, and that's even bigger. So we're focusing on the church building at this stage. And we have things like, if you open the window, half of the window falls out. So
even simple things that can easily be addressed. Yes.
Our floor is... we've got this kind of groove down the middle, and I'm not sure why it was put in the first place, but it means we've got tiles up the side, so people slip down the edge and hurt themselves. But equally, where the tiles are on the edge, the tiles have come away, so we've got some broken tiles. In fact, we do a youth group on a Wednesday, and one of the lads slipped and cut his leg on one of the broken tiles.
That
recently.
Is not good. Yes.
So it's not good at all.
Yeah.
We've got the build with the fans. None of the fans work, so it's a bit hot in there. We had bats flying through, but we've blocked up the hole, so that's quite good now. But the other thing that we were hoping to do was to put a kind of a kitchen area, not full kitchen, but a sink and a microwave and a cooker at the back. So when we do community activities, like we did a community lunch recently, for instance, and we didn't really have the facility. You have to bring everything down to do that. And we can wash up plates and things, rather than using loads of disposable plates. I'm very hot on environment.
And you have me right there. Give me a cup. Give me a plate that you can wash.
I'm in full
agreement with that.
We're wasting so much of our disposable plastic here in Grenada. So the idea is to try to upgrade the building, and once we've done that, then we are already doing community activities, but we can do more
to facilitate the community better. Definitely.
Yeah. So, and we don't have any money, so the church is in a bit of a poor state as far as financially. Members,
lots of churches, but I get you. Yeah.
So the idea is to walk round Grenada. So I've already walked all the way around.
You have?
In different chunks, but not all at once, not in one block, as it were.
Right.
So from the 12th to the 16th of December, I'm planning to walk around Grenada, so on the main road.
So 5 days.
5 days, yeah. So it's not a massive area. You probably could do it quicker, but because of all the hills and stuff and the heat and all that kind of stuff. So this will be a bit of a challenge for me. So I'm walking from Samaritan to Grenville, from Grenville.
Wait. Samaritan. That's in St. Mark's.
St. Mark's.
To St. Patrick's.
You have to go up through St. Patrick's, past MacDonald College.
Right, so then you have to go St. Patrick's first and then come down to Grenville.
Go into Grenville, yeah. Stay in Grenville overnight. Then the next day walk from Grenville to St. David's, near to where the Catholic Church is, and they're going to host me there. So in Grenville, the Methodist Church, somebody from the Methodist Church is going to host me
right.
when I get there. And then when I get to St David's, somebody from the Catholic Church is going to host me.
Right.
And then the next day, I walk from there to St George's, where somebody from the Presbyterian Church is going to host me. And then from there to Guelph, and I'm still waiting for a definite hosting.
Somebody out there who's listening or viewing, we need a room.
A room in Guelph.
Seriously, we need a room in Guelph. If you have a friend, or you have, or if you're willing, it's only one night. If you're willing to pay, maybe there is a little guest house that you might just be willing to support in that way, then we're open for it. You know the number here. Anybody could just use our Facebook page, put it in the comment, but we would definitely, and you have time, because this is from the 12th to the 16th. We have not even started the month yet. I will definitely, we will be talking about this after, you know what I mean, just reminding people.
Brilliant.
So, yeah.
And then from there to Samaritan. So I finish at Samaritan.
Right.
And that will be on the 16th. And hopefully, my hope is that people will support me on the way, but also that people will give some donation to the work that we want to do in the church.
Would you be walking around with what donation? I don't know, paper, pen, something? Because
I suppose I could do. I hadn't really thought about that.
Well, you have to get the money in something.
Yeah.
I mean, you have this bag because clearly you're into Scout. I saw the bag. Yes, you can lift it up. No problem. My goodness, this is a big bag. So I asked him, I said, are you going to be walking around with that thing? Because it looks as if if he has that bag to walk right or wrong, it looks like he's going to take 12 days instead of 5. But we'll definitely, I suppose you need your bag. It looks like that bag has become a part of you.
It has become a part of me. I carry my first aid kit, my water, all sorts of things are in my first.
But it looks like it has a lot more than that. So we'll definitely get it lighter. And if we can, partner with you to at least be able to get some of your stuff at a different location. So it's just a little bit easier. I mean, that is the point of partnering, But would you be dressed in something that causes you to stand out? Because if anybody just sees a white man walking and they didn't see him here talking about this, you just another crazy white man walking.
Sure.
So how do we, how do we identify
I'm wondering
you?
whether I should be wearing my dog collar thing.
What?
My shirt with the dog collar thing.
No, you'll just look crazy.
I just look crazy. But I have a.
No, but seriously, there should be something.
I have a fluorescent green hat that I'm going to be wearing.
Right.
So that's a sun hat.
Of course, for the sun. Yes.
So I'll be wearing that.
But maybe, so who knows? And of course, we'll have to follow up with this because we're talking about it here. But the people need to know how to at least identify you.
Yes.
Even if it means, walk, 5-day walk for Presbyterian. You know what I mean? Support.
Yeah. Maybe
something.
a T-shirt or something.
Yeah. So maybe it is something that you'll definitely have to look into. That I know you should be able to get easy sponsorship for. I mean, it's a T-shirt, but very bright, something that can easily, as I said, identify you. And quite possibly I'm thinking that, churches should definitely just be aware of the endeavor. So, I mean, because I know of it now. So I will tell my folks at church. So even if someone sees, how often do you see a tall white man walking in a fluorescent top? Mark, give to the someone.
I get
you know what I mean? But there needs to be something. So at least, because I believe in our brothers and sisters, no matter, in the midst of it, yes, some people might say, but it's a season of giving. And everybody want to give something for Christmas. Give into the Presbyterian Church. I'm serious. Free advertisement this morning.
Thank you. Yeah.
But, so at least if people see, they can be able to, hey, what are you doing? Why? What's? And then at least they should be able to, give something. Sure. That I believe will be great.
Yeah, I'm hoping that we get some sponsorships and money from the UK as well. So friends in the UK and stuff like that will be hopefully sending some money over as well too.
Okay.
Yeah.
All right. So we just have a comment from Facebook.
Yeah.
And it is that if it is that people know where you are going to be at particular times, then we can, people can be able to rally around you there, and then you can collect donations there as well. That makes sense.
Sure.
So maybe when you get to the place where you rest, where you stop off at each one, maybe that is what can also be made kind of public. And
my plan is to kind of leave, so start the walk about 8 o'clock in the morning. So that's the plan, because it'd be a bit cooler than later. And most, so certainly I've timed a few of the slots, if it were, as it were. So from Samaritan through to Grenville is approximately 4.5 hours. So I should get there about 12:30 or so. So I'm going to get around about midday-ish to the different locations when I travel around. So they're all about that kind of distance.
Right.
Yeah.
Okay. So it means, and again, I am committing to that. I know that here we will be able to at least, be able to say to give the reminder. If no other time, then certainly at the time when we're doing our program here on a Friday, if not before, but certainly then we can, put little reminders there. So what we can do for you is, by the time we finish, because I know that there must be still, because there's a little time still, I know there must be some logistics that you still have to tie up.
Sure.
As soon as you have those tied up, we can, ask here at the station if we can, how and when we can put in, all right, Reverend Nigel, and kind of give updates. I would honestly want to suggest to you as well. I mean, once you have data, you track while you're going along. I'm here, and I'm sure people will be will follow. Whether you have a Facebook page, whether you have a whatever, but you can put some of the walk on live. Like when you reach there, you can say something. And I really do believe that. I do believe that you will get it. Now, do you have a target that you're working towards?
No, I was hoping to have got by now a whole kind of assessments of how much the thing's going to cost, but it's been pretty slow. People are not very quick at getting back, unfortunately. And I've been trying for about a year.
So you mean you've been trying to get the actual estimate?
Yeah, and it's been really very, very difficult. I'm kind of thinking, well, maybe 30 or 40,000.
But you will walk, of course, like the immediate things you mentioned, like that stuff in the middle, which is like an immediate need, and the window, even if it's some basic things.
So we do whatever we can with the money
with
that
whatever
comes.
You receive.
So all the money will go towards,
but of course. That all right. Okay. So those of you who are listening and viewing, because we have just a few more minutes, if it is that you do, and I really do believe. Listen, I built. We were renting a church, and I've congregationalist, so I don't have any help on the outside. And we were renting for $2,000 a month. The ministry did not have more than 70 persons. And out of that 70 persons, we're talking children involved, so they're not working. And then you're talking about a whole lot who are not working and are part of the ministry because they want help. That kind. So you're talking about a very few individuals carrying the ministry, the few who are employed. And we were renting for $2,000 a month. Needless to say, you couldn't do anything much after you paid the rent. So in 2019, after having been in arrest for a little bit, I really prayed and I said, God, I've had enough of this. If this is a ministry you've really given me to do, then do something. Because clearly I've done it, and what I've done, it has only been able, I need some supernatural input right now, no. And the truth is that it cost me a few things, but what happened is that we got a small plot of land to rent. So this is where we are right now in Pearls. We got at least the land is rented, but the structure is ours. And it's a small structure, but I don't care how small it is, it's ours. And it's wooden, but now we can meet and don't need to wonder about the rent. And God had miraculously, and the truth is it was through a program similar to this, on Real FM, actually, because I do a program there every Monday morning. And the owner of the station, he said, he instead of me doing the asking, he said, no. He said, you have been on the station given to the community in terms of encouragement for all these years. It's time for us as a community to give back to you. And I'm not saying every caller gave and that everybody called, but within that one program, God bless them. Emma then Hardware, and I'm not advertising here, I'm just stating what happened. They called, and I don't know the man, but he just was listening to the program at the time, and they gave us our roof.
Right.
The whole roof.
Amazing.
And we have been so grateful.
God is good.
Yeah. You know, I mean, and because we were using just, the good thing is we don't owe anybody. We never took a loan or anything. I'm not saying anything is wrong with that. I'm just saying that is what happened. And the building is ours. Even if something were to happen today and we do not have the use of the land, at least we can pick up and go somewhere else because the building is ours. And I am a believer in what you are doing because I do believe that God works by using the hands of others in the community, and it doesn't always take too much of begging and cajoling. I do believe that there will be hearts out there who will be willing to just say, here what, Reverend Lindsay, I'm going to give you the sink. Right? Because, I mean, I don't want to guess your age on TV, but I know you and me are not the same age.
I'm very young.
But, I mean, you know, to me, I really want to commend you on the effort. I don't know that I can walk the whole of Grenada without some medic have to come, without somebody having to pick me up after the second day. But for you to do it, you know, for the whole week, I mean, I really do believe it is commendable, and I really do want to encourage us to support. So those of you who are willing to give, because you don't have to wait till he's walking to give. We know what the needs are. We don't want somebody else getting hurt, right? And we say we are a Christian nation. So let's just put our Christianness to act, right? You know, Reverend Lindsay, can you share with us some contact information for you so that those who are listening, they may not see you while you're walking, but at least I believe that there are people right now who are listening and viewing, and who will listen and view later on, who will be willing to say, hey, you know what, I could just, let me just give towards that. I don't have to wait for you to walk. Let me just give. It might not be money, but I'm sure you're willing to take the material.
Yeah.
Exactly. So share with us some information.
Okay, so telephone number would
Please,
be good. Yeah, okay,
telephone
so
number,
it's 473 458 1932. So that's
458
1932 is my telephone or WhatsApp number.
Right. Mm-hmm.
And my email address is pastor, Pastor, Nigel, Nigel, 19 at yahoo.co.uk.
.co.uk. All right. We will still take that information after. So like when we've given the reminders in ensuing weeks, we can at least just, you know,
brilliant.
put that up with a little bit of information for you. Just repeat the number one more time.
So
458.
458 1932.
All right. And that is if you want to give. Because hear what? You may just have a sink left over from your building project, or you may have some tiles left over. Or maybe you don't have it left over and you just figure, you know what, let me just give. Maybe God has been speaking to you and saying you want to get involved in some activity, some kind of charitable work, and you have been kind of wondering, what do I give to? In what endeavor should I give? Because that is the other thing. Some people are very particular about giving. It's like, I give, and then what do they do with it and all of that? Well, hear what? If you don't want to give your money, then you spend the money yourself and then give it in kind. Get in touch with Reverend Nigel and be able to give as you can, because it is good. And we're not here to promise you any stuff if you give. Hello? I'm going to make that very clear. We're not promising you you're going to be blessed, you're going to get this job. No. We're simply saying there is a need at the Presbyterian Church to be able to do more effective community outreach, and we are asking for your help. That's it. No strings attached. None of the gimmicks, none of the games. We just want your help. It's either you would like to or you can't. Or you can, and it doesn't matter how small it is. $5 is a lot because it's $5 that he didn't have before. All right? So, closing words, Pastor.
Thank you for the opportunity to be on this station, and I pray God kind of has a big impact on our community, and it's about working together, isn't it? It's about people doing things together for God, and
I
that's a
agree.
partnership.
And we can't, I mean, it's only someone who has gone completely crazy who will think that he or she can do it all on his own. It is just impossible. You cannot do it without coming together to get it done. So, I know I'm not going to just be talking here. We will speak in private about how, as a ministry, as an individual, as a fellow pastor, I will be able to assist in how I can, without a doubt. I'll do my part, and we've already asked the audience, and we are praying, hoping, and I do believe that you are going to get some support. I do believe it. I do believe it. So, if it is okay with you, I just want to offer a quick word of prayer for you as you go forth, and then we will close up the program.
Yeah, brilliant. Thank
Hallelujah.
you.
Father, we just thank you today for your many blessings. We thank you for your love and your tender mercy that you continue to release to all of us as your children. Father, I bring before you my brother in you, and as he endeavors, as he does his part, the part that he alone can do, that you are strengthening him to do, as he does his part to be able to raise the much needed funds to do the work that he has seen is needed in his community, in his church where you have given him to lead at this time. We pray your blessing upon this project. We pray, oh God, that you will supernaturally intervene and you are going to minister to the hearts of those who need to be ministered to. Lord, I pray that you are going to touch hearts, and those persons who might be saying, oh, churches are always asking. Lord, I pray that there will be a change of heart, that there will be a change of mindset, and that, Lord, those that you have committed, you have already spoken to their hearts, and they might be in the valley of indecision. I pray, oh God, that their hearts will be inclined and open, oh God, to this endeavor, this cause. We lift up the family and the community of individuals who fellowship at the Samaritan Presbyterian Church. We lift up every individual, and we pray that even as a community, they too will get heavily involved in this project. Lord, I pray your blessing on every person that will consider and will be used by you, God, to do this. We ask that even as we journey together to advance your kingdom, that your name will be praised and glorified. In Jesus' name, amen.
Amen.
All right. Thank you very much for coming.
Thank you.
Thank you very much for staying with us. You have Pastor Nigel's number, and definitely we will, I'm sure that you are going to be in touch with him. Thank you. God bless you. Have a great rest of your day and a wonderful weekend until I see you again next Friday, God's will. Bye-bye.